The Washington Wizards beat the Charlotte Hornets 124-114 for their second straight victory and their 8th win of the year. Yes, I ain't lying, y'all. And we got a special guest. We got a stranger in the house tonight. Come on, rock with us. Next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Wizards daily newsletter. One-stop shop for the ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. And start your day with the all-new free Locked On Wizards newsletter. Tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Super Bowl 59 is here, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. New customers can bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. All right, everybody. Today, we got special guests. You already know who this guy is. Come on now. My former backcourt mate, my guy, the Red Oliver. How you doing tonight, bro?
Doing great, man. It's been a long time, man. It's been a long time. So thank you for having me on.
Man, look, man, it's always a pleasure, my brother. So, like I said, I was trying to get you on here for the longest, man. So definitely appreciate you, man, coming on tonight, man. So, hey, Wizards' second straight victory, beating the Hornets 124-114 for their 8th victory of the year. So, real quick, looking at the stat line, everybody who needed to step up stepped up tonight. Jordan Poole was under the weather, did have 6 assists, but he was practically a decoy tonight. Black Kubali stepped it up. Kuzma did his thing, very aggressive, and then the second unit shine. So what was your takeaway for the game tonight, man?
Just the ball movement was great, man. The first half, they really jumped on him. Corey Kispert had a great first half. He got hot. He was knocking down a bunch of threes into the game with 25. Love the defensive effort out there. I mean, Giannis Valanciunas, man, he really has been a great pickup for the team. He's been a great veteran leader. He's just been a great player, a great rebounder, just the physicality that he brings to the game. I thought he did a really good job against Mark Williams in the first half. I know Mark Williams picked it up in the second half, but he kind of set the tone. Not kind of, Jonas definitely set the tone in the first half, getting a bunch of boards, offensive rebounds. I mean, we just bullied them. How many times did we talk about it last year where we always got rebounded? This year, too, we've done better with the boards. But we were the more physical team, and you don't really hear that much. You don't really hear that much from the Wizards, them being the most physical team out there. I get it. The Hornets didn't have LaMelo Ball. Brandon Miller's out for the year. We have a couple guys out too. So, but I think Giannis definitely set the tone. We out-rebounded them 54-46. That was huge. 18 offensive boards tonight to their 9. 36 defensive rebounds to the Hornets 37. But for the most part, I thought we really controlled the game on the boards there. But we really got hot. When Bilal plays like that, 26 points, 9 for 16 from the field, I mean, the Wizards can be a competitive team. I'll say that. They can be a competitive team. We know what the goal is. We know the goal is for Cooper and Ace and Harper from Rutgers and all those guys. We get what the goal is, but can they at least be competitive? Some of the games that we've seen, actually, a lot of them, they just have not been competitive at all. The Lakers game was just terrible to watch. The first half of that game was terrible. The whole game was all awful. To the point where you saw Bronny James go out there and do isolation scores and stuff like that.
Good Lord.
So it looks like they're playing competitive basketball. The Timberwolves, too, another team they beat without Anthony Edwards and without Julius Randle. So they're stacking up wins. We don't want them to get too many wins, but when you see some of the young guys developing, like Bilal, some guys getting their trade value up, like Giannis Valanciunas, and whatever happens with Corey Kispert, him playing really well. Kuzma is starting to play better. He had a good game against the Timberwolves, 22 tonight. That's what you want to see. And then the Hornets went zone. They dissected the zone towards the end of the game. A big shot by Bilal down the stretch. A nice alley-oop from Malcolm Brogdon to Bilal to put the dagger in him. We haven't heard the word dagger, us winning with a dagger in a while. So that was good to see, too. And then this was with Jordan Poole being sick, the illness that they announced a couple hours before the game. So with him not really being a factor, other guys had to step up. Keyshawn George getting another start. Corey Kispert with 25 off the bench. Brogdon with 16 off the bench. Just the bench production was really good. Blau hit 4 threes. So just seeing his development. He's had an up and down season, but tonight he was definitely playing really, really well. So that was good to see. Just looking at some of the bench points too. I mean, we really outscored their bench by a large margin. Our largest lead was 26-5, 52. We had 52 points in the paint as well. And 29 assists 29 assists. So you love when you see the ball moving out there and guys actually showing effort on defense. So that was the winning formula. They blew them out. Of course, they allowed them to come back, but at the end they smelled blood and went for the kill. So solid win. I don't want to see too many more, of course, for the draft purposes. But when you see guys developing, other guys get their trade value up, then before the 6th on Thursday, then I'll take that any day of the week.
I mean, the ironic thing is this, man. I mean, and does it really matter if we win or lose because we only have a 14% chance anyway. So, I mean, we can lose every single game the rest of the way. We still only have a 14% chance. But you hit the nail on the head. The right people stepped up at the right moments. Jordan Poole tonight obviously was out with the illness. He was a decoy. He was a facilitator tonight with 6 assists. Shot didn't drop. I mean, he won himself. You can kind of see that, with his body language on the bench. Not feeling, there's that flu going around in the DMV, man. So it's hitting people hard and respiratory, man. So I'm a person who had my fair share of respiratory illnesses. So once it hits your lungs, man, you can see his condition took a hit. But you want to see Kuz become the number one option, and he did. Very aggressive tonight. 22 points, shooting 8 for 21 for the field, 3 for 13 from 3. So he let that shot go, man. He had no problem. He didn't see one shot he didn't like tonight, but you needed him to be aggressive. So it is what it is on that front. Be cool. 26 points. Good Lord. 9 for 16 from the field, 4 for 8 from 3. Be cool. We know what he can do defensively, but when he finds a consistent offensive game, this brother is a star, man. He's going to be a star in DC. And then, look, he's starting to string together some consistent offensive performances. Again, 26 points tonight. So this is definitely what you want to see from Be Cool because, look, he's that one valuable piece going forward in his rebuild, man. Next year, you want to see him take that next step. I thought that next year was going to be the formal breakout campaign. Still could be this year, even though it's been up and down, but I definitely see him ramp it up in the second half of the season. But another thing to look at is the second unit. The second unit stuff. Oh, before we get to the second unit, Jonas Valanciunas tonight, 17 rebounds. So, like you already mentioned, rebounding has gotten better this year. Now, is it where we needed to be? Nah, but definitely better. Jonas Valanciunas is a guy who's a notorious Wizards killer, a guy who always puts up good numbers on the Wizards, so he might as well put some work on for the Wizards, man. 14 points and 17 rebounds. So he got nasty in the paint. We needed that to happen because it was practically just Mark Williams in the paint for them. But the second unit shined. Kispert tonight was a man on a mission. 5 for 9 from 3. He was hitting everything in that first half, man. 25 points. We need that from Kispert, man. Kispert, we need that microwave score off the second unit, and he's shining tonight, man. Malcolm Brogdon coming back, ramping up, come back from injury, 16.7 assists. So he did well, especially getting to the paint, something he does well. 8 for 10 for the charity strike. And Rashawn Holmes didn't score a single point, but that's all good because this brother got 10 rebounds. So, look, we held down the paint, and that was one key to victory is win the battle of the rebounds, win the battle of the paint, put that work in. Because, look, we both know Mark Williams puts work on the Wizards, man. He's done it time and time again. So it's good to, finally put some work on Mark Williams. And like I said, they have a chance for this game. Yes, they had a lot of injuries, and you can argue that Minnesota had a lot of injuries. But here's the thing. Anybody who's saying, injuries, most teams in this point in the season are dealing with a lot of injuries. This is the time of the season where, the wear and tear of the season really gets on players, man. And that's why that all-star break is very important for players individually because they need that break before the second half of the season. So, league-wide, you're going to see a lot of injuries. So I'm not going to sit here and say, we'll take the dubs. And I think that really going to Brooklyn on Wednesday night, man, we have an opportunity to have a 3-game winning streak. And I'm cool with that because, like I said, I don't expect us to win more than 15. And it was, like I said, at the end of the day, we only have 40% chance. I think we need to string together some culture wins, play hard, play to win, play 4 quarters. When you mentioned earlier, is that, before the Minnesota game, this team wasn't playing all 4 quarters. So is that the biggest problem, E, real quick, is the Wizards being so inconsistent in one game? It's like Jekyll and Hyde. One game, they get blown out. Next game, they fight to all 4 quarters.
Yeah, it's that, and they're just not good enough at the same time. And they just have so many guys developing. We got so many young guys starting, and Alex Sarr, Bub, Keyshawn, they're developing, and we're a terrible defensive team for one.
Yeah.
We can't stop anybody. We are a turnstile on defense for sure. But you see it from the start too. Like some of these games where they're getting blown out, they're just not good enough. And then when Kuzma is not locked in, you can clearly tell with some of the games where he's had under 10 points. And Jordan Poole, he's had a better year this year for sure. I give Jordan Poole his credit. He's had a way better season this year. But when you look at the Raptors game, they lost 106-82, Mavericks 130-108. They're not even competitive. They're not even close in some of these games. The Lakers 134-96, and that was without Anthony Davis before he got traded. So, you see some of those games and they're just getting blown out. The Clippers, they got blown out 110-93. Lakers 111-88. So a lot of these games, they just haven't even been competitive. It's like they haven't even really shown up to play. It's like they're getting blown out. They're getting blown out the water early in some of these games. I'm looking at some of the numbers. The Bulls 130-105. The Thunder 136-95. So yes, they definitely are still in Bobcats territory. I see some of the comments we're going to get to later, but so that's just some of it, man. You can see some of the body language, like some of the guys have checked out the last couple games with the trade deadline coming up, and then for whatever reason, it looks like some of the guys have picked it up because they know the trade deadline is coming and they're trying to get the value up, and they see other teams making big moves. We've seen 2 moves with De'Aaron Fox and the Kings. Zach LaVine and the Kings and Luka with the Lakers. So these players, they know what's going on. And you can just tell it by their body language when they know a trade is coming for sure. So I think some of it is that. I think some of it is just the talent disparity, them compared to a lot of the teams in the league.
No, I agree 100%, man. It is a combination of losing fatigue and the defense is trash. So it is what it is on that front. So I'm kind of get your take on Jimmy Butler. Should the Washington Wizards be a facilitator in a potential Jimmy Butler deal? We're going to talk about that, and then we're going to swing into the comments like we always do. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. What are some of your relationship green flags? We often hear about red flags we should avoid, right? But what if we focus more on identifying the positive signs in our relationships, those green flags? If you're not sure what they look like, therapy can help you identify them. Actively practice them and even embody that green flag energy yourself. Whether you're dating, married, building a relationship, or just working on yourself, therapy can help you form relationships that love you back, people. And like I said, I'm a big believer in counseling. It's not taboo anymore. It's definitely constructive, very productive to talk to somebody about how you're feeling and definitely get that mental side help, man. Definitely work on your mind as a muscle, right? So look, do yourself a favor, discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, let's get back into this thing, E. So, as you already mentioned, E, Luka Doncic is now a Los Angeles Laker, man. Anthony Davis is in Dallas, and De'Aaron Fox, which I think is a really good trade for the Spurs, is now in San Antonio with Wembanyama. So, real quick before we get into should the Wizards be a facilitator in a potential Jimmy Butler deal, what are your thoughts on both the Luka Doncic Anthony Davis trade, and how good of a combo can De'Aaron Fox and Wembanyama be in San Antonio for the future?
Yeah, I mean the Lakers Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis and a first round pick trade was probably the worst trade I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I was asleep, of course, on Eastern time. I was going to say Eastern Conference time, but Eastern time was 12 at midnight. I mean, everybody thought Sham's account was hacked. I did too, and now they're doing a smear campaign. I know Luka's dad has spoke out about it too. And he is out of shape. Does he like to drink and whatnot? Yeah, I mean everybody does, but to a certain extent, maybe he overly, drank and whatnot. But I'm not going to get to his personal life. But clearly the teams are, because they had to make a decision whether they were going to give him a supermax deal. And it's so crazy. Like, I know it's a joke and whatnot, but they traded Luka without talking to him before they traded him. And you look at us, we've talked to Kyle Kuzma, like, hey, do you want to go here or not? And then you look at Nico Harris, and he just goes up and trades arguably the best player in the NBA, or clearly a top five. No debate. He's a top 5 player in the NBA. He's the face of the franchise. He is the moon and the sun and the stars for the Mavericks. They just went to the NBA Finals.
Yeah,
they just went to the NBA. We haven't made the NBA Finals since 1978. So. For me, it was just insane to trade anybody that has taken you to the finals. And their roster really isn't that great. They have a solid roster. Don't get me wrong. Kyrie and Clay, and Clay's on the end of his year. Gafford, we love Gafford. Lively, they're solid players, but they're not juggernauts. PJ Washington's a solid player. So Luka took that team. Look at what Luka did to the Suns last year with Devin Booker and Chris Paul 2 years ago when he blew them out in Game 7 and gave those guys nightmares where he was laughing in Devin Booker's face. Like, I don't care if Luka was 300 pounds. I feel like Luka, even if he was 300 pounds, I still feel like he would average 25 8-8 and still take them to the second round of Western Conference Finals, So I just think it was an insane trade. The value they got back for it was awful. The explanation from Nico Harrison was awful, that they want to be a defensive team. You traded for a 32, 33-year-old power forward that is injured, off the injured street clothes, and that is begging for another big man to play against or play with him, because he doesn't want to bang. I mean, he bangs in the paint, but he's begging for another big to play with him.
Yeah.
And when he was with the Lakers. So I just think it was a terrible trade all around. I mean, look at Zion. Zion is way more out of shape, in my opinion, than Luka Doncic. And he's always injured, So, I mean, I think it was just a terrible trade. You look at the Mavericks fans, they had a funeral outside the stadium. I don't blame them. I don't blame them for protests and all that. They should boo and all that. They should do all that, because I would be very upset if you traded, it's like trading a franchise quarterback. That's how bad it was to me, So he didn't consult anybody, and he was Nico Harrison was laughing during the press conference, and Jason Kidd didn't know about it. But LeBron he's probably not telling the truth that he didn't know it. For LeBron to say that he didn't know it, like, come on, man, like, about every trade that's going to happen. He is the GM. He is the GM. For him to act like he didn't know, I feel like he definitely knew. So, and I just feel like the league, I could go on and on. The league is always trying to help the Los Angeles Lakers. They are always trying to help the Lakers. Anything to get ratings up and help the Lakers out. I'll just keep it real here. That's just what I feel like it was. And we all know the ratings are down. Adam Silver knows it. And this was a last effort to get people to watch the NBA again, in my opinion. And I think it's just it's terrible for the game. David Stern, rest in peace, David Stern. David Stern would have vetoed this trade so quickly, and now the Warriors are interested in LeBron. I know there's a report that's saying that LeBron's not going to go anywhere, but, man, that was an awful trade, man. And it's just to really make the Lakers relevant. It really is. That's what it is. There's no logical sense in the trade to me. No logical sense.
Nah, it's a pretty bad trade. I mean, like I said, people are out front doing the funeral, getting all mad. I mean, some people take it that deep. I just, it is what it is. I mean, at least you had a Luka. I mean, I wish we had one Luka, but right. So it is what it is. And you kind of mentioned the comment about Zion. I mean, yeah, you could argue to a certain degree Doncic was out of shape, but these guys from the Balkans, man, look at Jokic. These guys, man, they drink beer, they're putting up the numbers, man. So you can't argue. I mean, Zion, man, he's not putting up the numbers right now. So, when it comes to Luka, I mean, he's got those all-star purse, man. He's got the resume. So you can look at it from both sides. Out of shape, I get it. AD, when you look at AD's fit on Dallas, they're a playoff team, but they're not a championship team. And the Lakers, to me, don't scream championship team. I mean, you have two ball-dominant guys, and they have a nice cast. I like Reeves. I like Connect's been playing good ball, Rui. But, that's a lot of usage between those two guys. So we'll see. Like you said, every year the league is trying to get LeBron that next ring. Some Lakers fans, they think we're hating, but it is what it is. But, yeah, that trade was abysmal. I mean, you only got one first-round pick for the guy. And you only gave one team a chance to get him. You didn't even shop him to the league. You only shopped them to one team. So, and then looking at De'Aaron Fox, who's San Antonio, I think that's the biggest trade outside the Lakers trade, because I think De'Aaron Fox and Wemby are going to be a nice 1-2 punch, man, in San Antonio, especially when you have, now you got Chris Paul playing second fiddle off the second unit. They got a nice squad out there. They really do. They have a nice young squad, because if you look at the fact that to acquire De'Aaron Fox, they didn't have to give up Keldon Johnson. They had to give up Sohan. They didn't have to give up anything much. You know what I mean? So to me, that was more of chess than checkers as far as being a GM when it comes to the front office of San Antonio, because they were able to grab a talent like De'Aaron Fox and not give up much to get him. So real quick before we get into comments, Jimmy Butler is that next domino to fall at the trade deadline. Bradley Beal's made it known that he is not waiving his no trade clause to leave Phoenix. They're comfortable there. So, I mean, it's kind of a two-part question real quick. One, should the Wizards definitely try to be that facilitator, that third or fourth team in a potential deal, maybe take on a bad contract? And two, I mean, where do you see Jimmy Butler fitting that right now? Because Phoenix, it looks like they're probably out.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't answer the De'Aaron Fox trade to touch on that. To talk about that, no, that's a great trade for the Spurs, for them to get a point guard, a young point guard that can grow with Wemby, that can get him the basketball for sure. You just imagine the screen and roll just running the floor. De'Aaron Fox is, going 100 miles per hour all the time. He knows how to slow the game down too. He knows how to control the pace, but that's great. They had Chris Paul, who's 38, 39, 40 years old. So, Chris Paul can be, a mentor, veteran leader to those guys, and then probably right off into the sunset after the season and just let De'Aaron Fox control the team. So the Spurs are going to be good, man. I'm excited to see that. They're going to be very athletic, man. So I think that's a great move for them. And they didn't, like you said, they didn't give up Stephon Castle.
Yeah,
they didn't give them. They were able to keep their young guys. Devin Vassell. I mean, that's another fleece in my opinion right there too. So De'Aaron Fox is going to be a great fit, great 1-2 punch with Wemby for sure. So I'm happy for Victor to get a quick point guard. But to get back to Jimmy, so Shams Charania just came up with a tweet. He said that quote, from everything I'm told, they are working on 3, 4, and 5 and a 5-team trade scenario to figure out a pathway for Jimmy Butler. So he said the Suns are fully focused on getting a deal done for Jimmy Butler. So Jimmy wants out. I mean, he's done everything he can to get suspended. Not leaving practice early, getting kicked out of practice, not showing up to the team plane and trying to leave, whatever. So, but to answer your question, yeah, I could definitely see us getting in the mix for sure and taking on a contract like you brought up in your article for Sports Illustrated. Make sure you guys check that out on Sports Illustrated for the Wizards brand. It has a good article that's out. I'm talking about, bringing in possibly Bobby Portis, having a reunion with him or Chris Middleton. Yeah. So, I could definitely see us attaching ourselves in there to facilitate a trade to, get to either get a contract to trade it for a first-round pick or, unfortunately, maybe a bunch of second-round picks again like we've been getting for the most part with this regime. So I can see something like that. But, I think they should definitely – and they probably will. 3 or 4 or 5-team trade is not going to be easy to get Jimmy to Phoenix, especially with, like you said, Bradley Beal's not going to waive that no trade clause. He just said that he doesn't want to uproot his family, so it looks like he's going to be staying. So how do they get that done with Bradley Beal, kind of making it difficult here? And shout out to Tommy and Ted for giving him that no trade clause. And, other teams or the Suns are seeing, it's hurting them right now. This is what his second year with the Suns, and they're already trying to get rid of him. That's just how crazy it is. So we moved on way too late. It's a good thing we finally moved on, but we moved on way too late. But I could definitely see them bringing somebody in, getting attached in a trade, taking on a bad contract. We've seen like OKC did when they were with a lot of guys. Will Dawkins was there with OKC. They took on Al Horford's contract. They took on a couple of contracts or aging veterans and flipped them for, multiple picks and different assets. So I could definitely see them doing something like they did with OKC.
Oh, yeah, I agree 100%. I definitely think they need to be a facilitator and any potential Jimmy Butler trade. Now, Bradley Beal is staying in Phoenix, but by KD, there's reports that Golden State's looking to make a move, man. So you could see a reunion in Golden State. So to me, that's a natural other piece that gets moved in from Phoenix. I don't see them getting rid of D-Book. You got to retain Bradley Beal. It's going to be one wild trade deadline, man. So, like I said, I definitely think the Wizards should definitely be involved being that facilitator. So, all right, we're going to get in the comments like we always do. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Oh, give me a second. Man, everything's going haywire. All right, here we go. Super Bowl 59 is here. One game, 2 teams, endless possibilities. And there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or even betting on the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action with live betting all game long. You can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to final whistle. And you guys know me, man. FanDuel is my go-to. It's definitely the app that I recommend. So, man, look, they got a lot of offers, man, especially potentially win $200 in bonus bets for the Super Bowl. You have to hit that. So download the app and head to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet just $5. And if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 59. All righty, let's get in the comments, man. So we are at the 24-minute mark. So keep the time down, man, because we're in around 40 minutes, man. So
yes, I know.
So, I mean, easier said than done, right? So let's see, man. Kicking everything off was Bunker Getter. He says if JP plays, and this comment was at 5:47. So if JP plays back-to-back wins tonight, trust. So we got those back-to-back wins. And then Locked On All Around says, who cares about that? The Bucks want Kuzma, trade him. So I mean, I guess we can kind of react to that real quick. Milwaukee has interest. So do you see Kyle Kuzma fitting in with Milwaukee, and would he be a starter or coming off the bench?
Who's involved in the trade is going to be a big thing.
Yeah.
I know we talked about Middleton, so I don't know if Middleton would be involved in the trade for Kyle Kuzma. Possibly not there. We talked about Bobby Portis as well. Bobby Portis comes off the bench for them, but he would definitely get big minutes for them. He would be a key contributor. We know when people leave the Wizards, they found the fountain of youth and they find how to play basketball again. We've seen guys who were awful with the Wizards get traded. And next thing you know, they become a key piece and they win a championship. So we've seen that numerous times before. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kuz went to the Bucks and started playing good basketball again. But for us in return, clearly we're not going to get a first-round pick or any first-round picks back because he's had a really underwhelming season, to put it nicely. So looking at their starting five, Taurean Prince is starting, and Taurean Prince, I like Taurean Prince's game, but he may be one of the worst starters in the NBA. Andre Jackson is starting for them too. Once again, probably one of the worst starters in the NBA. Off the bench, they got Marjon Beauchamp, Pat Connaughton, Gary Trent Jr. So their roster definitely needs help. They got Ryan Rollins on the team. He's getting some good minutes too. The guy who was released.
Keep him out of target. Keep him out of target.
Right. Yeah, I know. Yeah, he has some klepto problems, unfortunately. So Kuzma would get big minutes, man. He really would, and he can contribute. We've seen him contribute to a championship before in 2020 with the Lakers. Like he definitely can help a team if he is focused and playing hard for 48 minutes or 40 minutes, whatever minutes he gets. So he definitely should start over Taurean Prince and Andre Jackson, for sure. Like he's better than those guys clearly by a large margin. Chris Middleton's coming off the bench too. So, but yeah, he would get big minutes over there for sure, and he would be a key contributor for sure for the Bucks. So, but like I said, what would we get in return? Would it be Bobby Portis? Yeah. Would it be some picks? Of course, they don't really have a lot of picks over there. So the return wouldn't be great. We know what his value is. It's very, very low at this point. We were talking about this before the stream. Like the Kings already made their move. A lot of teams already made their moves, so, the well is really drying up. So I think that the Bucks are probably really one of the few suitors that I see for Kuz because the Kings are out of it, in my opinion.
No, I think I'm with you, man. I think he fits. I think he definitely starts now. I think it's perfect for him because he doesn't have to carry a lot of the offensive load like he does here in Washington. Obviously, you have Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard.
So comment that he said too, I forgot to say about this. The comment that he said about he didn't want to step on other guys' toes because they're developing and. He's like, oh, now I'm going to shoot the ball now. I don't want to because I'm not really going to worry about guys developing. So that was the comment that he made. So he wouldn't have to worry about that. So we'll see how he does on a competitive team and if that was really a factor in him having some of the really bad games that he had.
Yeah. Let's see. Bree says the flu and COVID been running rampant here in VA. Not shocked if it's the flu. Yeah, there's some kind of respiratory flu going around, man. I know it is here in VA. So, yeah, like I said, his body language screamed he was under the weather. So I'm not tripping on him. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Koulibaly says, I don't give a, you already know. Anyone can be moved. If Dallas moved Luka, I don't care. Make some moves, Dawkins. Teams have jumped the line. The Spurs are cooking with grease now, and they kept their young studs. What are you doing, Dawkins? I mean, I've been a vocal supporter of this front office, and I still think it's a little early, but I will say this. They need to do something at the deadline, and you need to see some kind of progression going into year 3, man, because, I mean, you go into year 3, you need to see some progression. I'm going to say that. And I mean, we both said it. There's a likelihood that all 3 of these guys can be on the roster past the deadline. And I'm gonna tell you what, people are gonna have a fit. People ain't gonna be happy with that because look at what Denny's doing in Portland. I mean, the ship is set on that, but I mean, moving Kuz for 14 or 13 at Sacramento, and you still keep Denny, you still get Bub, you still get Keyshawn. We are obviously everything's in hindsight, but that would have been a better move. they did not strike when the iron was hot. They didn't hit when the value was at its highest when it came to moving Kuz, and they're learning a hard lesson right now. And like I said, there's been hiccups here and there, but overall, this front office has done a great job. But this is definitely a mistake. This Kyle Kuzma saga, man, they're going to regret that because it is a far cry from going from an asking price of 2 first-round picks to now. You're lucky if you maybe get a first-round pick. I don't think they are. So you're probably looking at a package of an expiring contract and a young prospect. So, I mean, like I said, if they don't get the deal they like, they probably hold on to Kuz. And, you're banking on him maybe bringing his value up next year. But like I said, with his body language, with the comments he keeps making, because he keeps having something to say, definitely see him being on the move. And Jonas Valanciunas, I think he's definitely going to be on the move. But Malcolm Brogdon is kind of the wild card because I think that he's a guy who, with his injury, he makes $22.5 million, man. And not many teams are willing to take that on, even though he is in this prime contract. But why would I take on $22.5 million if he may not even be available for playoff time? Because he's been injured 2-3 times this year. So let him be a mentor. Let him play the rest of this contract here in DC, and then he can walk and do his thing. So, because I think he definitely has value, but the injuries continue to be an issue. So let's see. A lot of people excited.
The thing I'll say about Kuz too, we know his mom has said a lot to Carrie Kuzma. She loves her son just like any mom does. But we've seen her on Twitter, posting the picture of him photoshopped in another jersey and, going back and forth with fans and stuff like that. So clearly he wants out. We know this. He hasn't announced it or requested a trade. But, when your mom goes on social media and is going back and forth with fans, we just kind of know what that means. So, we know his time is coming up for sure. And I'm a Kuzma fan. I like him. I think he's a really good player. He's done a lot of good things for the community and whatnot. But I just think the front office definitely fumbled. They fumbled the ball last year by giving him a fake no trade clause and asking him, you want to go to Dallas? They never should have did that. They should have moved on from him last year for sure.
Like I said, with the whole thing with the mom on the X, I'm not gonna get too deep on it, man, because it's funny, man. It's just, what was it? Me and my buddy of mine had a joke, man. Bobby Boucher. Mama say I'm a first option.
Right.
So it is what it is, man. It is. Let's see. Pull Bobby says, Brandon, the deadline would have passed by the time you get on here and tap in with your supporters. Have allowed us all love. Matter of fact, when the deadline hits, we will be going live, man, and we will be having Troy Halliburton on the show on Thursday, man, to kind of recap the trade deadline. So as soon as it hits, man, we will go live. So we got you. Let's see. Locked on Law says,
What's up, Locked on Law? What's up, man? Somebody said that I don't have a cough, so thank you for pointing that out.
I know, I saw that. Booker Gitter says, Ed the GOAT. Let's see. Pull the body says, come on, Ed, come on back, boss. Booker Gitter says, D Wade and Braun the podcast. Hey, I gotta take Braun, man. I'm just saying. Let's see. Man, a lot of love, man. Like I said, I've missed you on being on here, man. 2 years, man. So like I said, definitely miss chopping it up with you, my guy.
A lot of fun.
And Dallas says, always nice to have Ed back. Absolutely. And Meg Brian says, hey, Ed. Let's see. Rudy Ogwin says, let's go Lakers. Wrong podcast, homie.
Yeah, no,
let's see. Bextech says, thank God I demand this team beat the bum Hornets. I'm happy. My wife's a Hornets fan, so I'm definitely happy we won this game. She got a wicked look on her face today. Let's see. Cooper Hawkson says that time of the year where we start winning the hard lottery odds. I mean, that's the kicker, man. And that's the big joke, really, is that no matter where we go, we only have a 14% chance. And where we're at now, we have, I believe we're guaranteed the top 5. So we're going to be guaranteed the top 5. But like I said, I'm a big believer in history repeating itself. The last time we got the number 1 pick and the Washington Nationals had the number 1 pick was the year that we drafted John Wall and the Nationals drafted Bryce Harper. So I think that, and this year the Nats got the first pick in the MLB draft. So I think it's a good omen to have the number 1 pick and get Cooper Flag. But like I said, you can't miss the top 3. Let's see. Best in the North says, here in the commenters talk about Kuzma. They know he's probably gone before Thursday, but they have to say the right things on television. I don't pity not even the sports guys, man. Like I said, I know a lot of them down there. Shout out to Bajan Todd, Chase Hughes, Chris Miller, all of them. Shouting out Ed, man. See how excited to have you on here, man. But like I said, they got a hard job, man. They got to keep positive and definitely, so like I said, shout out to the monument sports crew, man. Fred Fezzo says, nice to see that Ed stop coughing. I know, right?
I got a call for the one time, man. I got a call for the good time.
I know, right? All right, everybody. We're going to knock out a few more and call it a night. Ben Tate says the OG is back. Indeed, he is.
What's up, Ben? What's up, man?
Lock the Law says, I'd take Bobby Portis. I'm with you on that, but I think Chris Middleton wouldn't be bad, man. Because really, if you look at him, John Collins, I got to take a look at Bobby Portis' contract, but they're only 2 years. And I believe that John Collins and Chris Middleton both have player options. So I see John Collins not enacting that player option, go get a bigger contract. But Chris Middleton probably would enact that player option, but it's only 2 years. So I think the best case scenario, to get a first round pick is to take on a bad contract. Because I don't see out of the top 3 guys, out of Valanciunas, Kuzma, and Brogdon, who gets a first round pick. I don't see it. I mean, if Luka got 1, man, so it kind of scares me a little bit with the trade market. But then not every GM is abysmal. That homie over in Dallas, man. Good Lord, Luka Doncic. I mean, all right. So let's see. Man, y'all are very active tonight. I appreciate you.
Yeah, we won. So it's like a blue moon. 2 wins in a row. Everybody's turned up over the 2-game win streak for sure.
Yeah, man. Let's see. No Breaks New. What's good, my guy? No Breaks New. He says, this is what I've been expecting. Just look competitive. What do y'all think about Keyshawn starting at the 3 and be cool back at the 2? Is Bilal best suited as a 2 or the 3? Lakers hurry up and get JV. I'm gonna let you take this, E. Do you think that Keyshawn George fits best at the 3? I know he looks at himself as a guard. He said that immediate day, but be cool with the 2. What do you think?
What's up? No Breaks New, man. It's been a long time. It's been a long time for sure. Good to see you again. So Keyshawn at the 3 and Bilal at the 2. I can see them interchanging either or. Honestly, I mean they both are 6'8", 6'9", and Keyshawn can shoot the 3. He can really knock it down. We love the celebration he does after knocking down the 3. He can handle the ball too. But I look at Bilal as a 3. Honestly, that's where I look at him as. And but he can play the 2 as well. I mean he can guard 1 through 4 and not really the 5, sometimes the 5, but he can really guard through. So defensively, he can play any position. He can play 1, 2, 3, 4. Keyshawn mainly he can guard 2 through 4. So they're just so interchangeable. You just know how the league is today. You know, it's positionless basketball. It's just what it's changed into. You know, you got a 6'8" guy, Keyshawn 6'9", who can dribble the basketball, put the ball on the floor, can really pass really well. Played point forward at Miami as well, and just so talented. I mean, what was he, like 6 feet? And as a freshman or a sophomore in high school, and then sprouted up to like 6'8", 6'9". So he plays like a guard in a 6'8", 6'9" body. So I see Keyshawn more suited to play a 2 guard if you wanted to say that. But like I said, once again, is more positionless basketball because these guys are so versatile and can do so much these days, and the game has really changed. But if we put them out there together, yeah, Keyshawn would probably be at the 2 and Bilal would be at the 3. And then Lakers hurry up and get Giannis Valanciunas. Yeah, I've seen people photoshopping Giannis in a Lakers jersey using artificial intelligence, AI and whatnot, putting him in the Lakers jersey. And they need a big desperately. Jackson Hayes is starting big. They got Trey Jamison, the former Wizard, out there playing backup center. So they clearly need a big man for sure. So I think you can probably get a couple second-round picks for Jonas Valanciunas. I really don't want Gabe Vincent back in return, but that's what the most mock trade, that's what I've seen for the Wizards to get back from Jonas. So, but yes, the Lakers definitely should be making a call to the Wizards. They already have, too. There's already been reports that they've been called for Giannis, and they wanted him in the offseason, too, but we beat them out for Giannis. So we'll see what happens in the next 48 hours.
Absolutely. Thursday's the deadline. So we're going to knock out one more comment real quick. It says, what's up, B? Welcome back, Ed, my guy. So again, shout out to my guy, No Breaks New. Long time listener and watcher of the show, man. So definitely shout out. So we're going to call it today, man. Like I said, always excited to have my guy back, man, back on the show. So real quick, I know, man, you be putting in that work with the Commanders, man. So where can people catch you, E?
Oh, yeah, you can catch me on YouTube at Oliver Commanders. You just type that in. I'm going to definitely be doing Wizards content, too, with the trade deadline. It's definitely been a tough season, but shout out to Brandon for holding it down through this historically tough season where we know what the goal is at the end of the year to get this draft pick and get either Cooper or Ace or Harper. Rutgers, they play at Maryland on Sunday, so that should be a fun game to watch in College Park. I may even try to go to that game in person. We'll see, just to see how good Ace Bailey is and Harper. So, but no, man, that's where you guys can find me. And like I said, Brandon's holding it down, man, and he's doing a great job. Awesome job.
Oh man, I'm doing all right, man. I appreciate you, man.
He's even traveling. He's covering the games. He's going to practices. He left the Lakers game early to beat the traffic. You know,
look, one the only one, brother. One the only one. But hey, man, definitely appreciate you, man. You're my guy, man. You know, like I said, man, it's always a pleasure to have you back on these. So definitely appreciate you. You gotta check my man. Yeah, if you don't follow A, man, you just under the rock somewhere, man. But high level commanders stuff, man. He does wizard stuff. Definitely check my guy, because he's the when I got into following commanders on YouTube, he was the first person I watched, man. So I've been watching E for years, man. So definitely recommend my guy, the real Ed Oliver, and the fake one in Buffalo now. It's a real Ed Oliver, man. So all right, everybody, we'll go ahead and call it a night, and catch us on Wednesday, because we're going to recap the Brooklyn Nets and Washington Wizards game. Could they get 3 in a row? Who knows? We'll see. So definitely catch us at 9:30 on Wednesday to recap the Washington Wizards versus the Brooklyn Nets game. So all right, everybody, hail to the Wizards, and peace, everybody, next time.